So my entire life up till now, I used to think that becoming a doctor is something that is the main and basic goal of my life. Once I get into MBBS, once I become a doctor, once I graduate, I can start saving human lives. I can be, you know, that person, amazing person who everybody loves and respects because of the fact that they are a doctor. And once I'm a doctor, my life's mission, my life's goal will basically be accomplished, and I'll be happy, like I'll live happily ever after. However, I just turned 26 2 days ago, and hence the chocolate cake. Let's celebrate together, guys, and talk and chat. Because the reality, my friends, is that life is not still water. Life is an ocean where you have new waves coming in all the time. Life, guys, is not linear. It's not black or white. There is a lot of gray matter, and all that gray matter really matters. So let's start by talking about my life history and how things were for me growing up. It's actually quite nice. So I remember we used to have just one laptop at home, because I grew up in Pakistan in a fairly mediocre, you know, family in a middle class household. We had one laptop at home, and everybody used to use the exact same laptop. And the password I had chosen for that laptop, for my my account on that laptop, was the word doctor. And I was like, I think in grade 7 or 8 at that time. You know, I was a kid. I didn't even really know what a doctor meant. You know, all I used to see was my mother, who was a doctor, and she would get a lot of respect from other people because, you know, she was a doctor. And in the South Asian culture, if you're a doctor, you get a lot of respect. I'm sure if you're watching this video and you are from the same background as myself, then you know what I'm talking about. So that was pretty much what I saw growing up, and I thought that, okay, you know what, since I'm good at school, I'm good at biology, I think becoming a doctor would be the best option for me. And obviously I wanted to make my parents proud as well, and hence I thought, okay, doctor it is. MBBS, way to go. And the way I think about this is that, you know, life is all about exposure. The less exposure we have, the less we know about the world, and the less we know about ourselves as well. So the more exposure we get, the more we start to explore other things in life, and the more we start to know about ourselves, about our own personalities. We start to develop interests and, you know, passions and their hobbies which we might find interesting. And since we had little exposure before, we did not know that we had all those capabilities inside of us. So I think exposure is like absolutely crucial. It's essential to start, you know, digging deeper about your own self as well. And it was 2 years ago that I started my YouTube channel, and I've soon realized that I really loved talking to the camera, you know, because I also used to love doing presentations in school here in Norway, and also, you know, public speaking in general. I used to love that thing. So the moment I sort of started speaking to the camera, it really felt like the same hobby, the same thing, the same passion, because you guys are my family, right? You guys are my sort of audience, and I love speaking to people. So soon I realized that this camera is a lot more to me than just a device, than just a machine, because through this camera I can like sort of contribute to, you know, and, you know, convey my message to a whole wider audience. And this really, now that I think about this, it really makes a lot of sense to me, because back in Pakistan, and for those people who don't know, I lived in Pakistan for the first 16 years of my life. So I did like my 11th grade from Pakistan as well. Like from 1st till 11th, I went to school in Pakistan. And then back in Pakistan, I used to do a lot of debating. You know, like we used to have a lot of inter-school debate competitions, and we would go there and speak, you know, bring up arguments and stuff like that. And I would say, really good at that. Not to, you know, brag about myself, but the thing is, I spoke in these competitions, lost a lot of these competitions and won a few of them as well, spoke at the national championships, etc, etc. And I used to love that. I remember back in the days, me and my other friends in the debating team, we used to call this as our oxygen, because this was something we were doing on the side. All these competitions used to happen on the weekends, right? So we were happily sacrificing our weekends for debating, just because we loved to debate so much. We loved to do public speaking to an audience, you know, making a case, conveying your message. We used to love that. Oh, why am I burping so much? This cake is quite heavy. So I soon realized that, okay, this was a big source of my happiness, you know, public speaking. And when I moved to Norway, I really remember that one of the things that I was really sad about was the fact that there was pretty much no opportunities for the same type of debating that I was into here in Norway. And that really made me sad because, you know, back in the days, debating used to give me a lot of freaking happiness. So when I came to Norway, sooner or later, I forgot all about debating, and you know, it's basically died. Like the debating aspect of Arham died on the outside, but it was still breathing somewhere deep inside me. And when I started YouTube, that debating Arham, that aspect of my personality, I feel got alive again. I could really feel that. I could really feel myself talking to the camera and really enjoying the moment, because that is something that used to give me a lot of happiness, and I could feel the exact kind of happiness again. And in medical school here, and now I'm towards the end of 5th year here in medical school. I have one more year and then I'll be a doctor. And honestly, I don't really know how I feel about that. I mean, I'll be working as a doctor for the rest of my life, and I know for a fact that when I'm in the hospital, it feels good. Like, don't misunderstand me. I like working as a doctor, but it's not something I'm really passionate about, you know. And sometimes I wonder if there is something wrong with me, or if this is how it's supposed to be. Like, when do you even find your passion? Because even if I was passionate about medicine and biology and, you know, learning about the human body, when that passion turns into a profession, does it really mean the same to you? Because now you are working as a doctor because you have to work as a doctor, not because you want to work as a doctor. You know, this profession, working in the hospital or at your own clinic, that is basically bringing bread on your table, on your dinner table, right? So it's something that you have to do. And I feel that when a hobby or a passion turns into something that you have to do instead of you choosing to do it, that's when your relationship with that hobby starts to really deteriorate. And I still like medicine. I would still go to the hospital, you know, but again, going to the hospital, treating patients, helping people does not really give me that satisfaction that I sort of get from public speaking, because I sometimes conduct like these presentations and, you know, courses for other students at medical school, and the kick that I get, the happiness that I get from that is something I can't even compare with, you know, practicing medicine, because that really makes me happy. It really makes me satisfied. So that got me thinking that, okay, this is something a lot of people can relate to, right? Because things change in life. You have one moment you think that, okay, medicine is something that's everything for me, and other moments when you get more exposure and when you get to develop a deeper relationship with yourself, that's when you realize that, okay, the previous thing that I used to love, I still like that, but I guess there are other aspects of my personality which I have which I have developed genuine interest for. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because I want you guys to really understand and realize that things do change, and we need to acknowledge that. You know, there is no point in beating yourselves up and thinking that, oh man, medicine is not as glamorous as I thought it would be. Because obviously things do change. You know, in theory, everything seems just so perfect and so amazing. But once you actually start working as a doctor, you see, okay, things are actually quite hard. You know, the working hours, the patient load, the workload, the pressure, the long days, the long hours. Everything is quite hard, and that makes you see the reality of that thing. You know, we always said that grass is always greener on the other side, but once you actually get to the other side, you see that things are not as green as they seemed before. So I want you guys to really open up for the possibility that something that you really thought would be your biggest passion might not be your biggest passion after all. And the only reason to find out is to actually do it. You know, I wouldn't know if doctor or becoming a physician really was my passion until I had actually done it. And you know, even when I started medicine, like for the first 2 years, I was like, oh man, this is so amazing, I really love this. But once I really got into medicine as a started working as a doctor, as a junior doctor, you know, having my rotations, that is when I thought that, no man, no way, this is way different than I thought that it would be. So it's not like I'm quitting MBBS or I'm quitting medicine. That's not the point. I just want to make these videos to make myself also aware of the fact that my happiness also is associated with a lot of other things than MBBS. Probably I get more happy doing other things like making these videos than practicing medicine, and that is fine, that is okay. I mean, treating MBBS as a profession, there is nothing wrong with that. You can treat it as a job. You don't have to treat it as something really holy and sacred that you're not allowed to say that, oh, medicine does not really bring me that much happiness. I think we should be much more open about the fact that, okay, happiness lies in other aspects of life as well. We can find our passions after a while. You know, the more exposure we get, the more we get to know about ourselves. And I think I've repeated that numerous times for now. So now just sit back and relax, eat this cake, and I hope you found this first episode of Grey Matter quite interesting, because it's like a sort of like a podcast, I would say. So thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, just comment down below or contact me on Instagram, wherever you want to, and kiss that subscribe button if you haven't done that already, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Take care. Peace. Oh, I can't reach the camera. I have to get up.